relate to this feeling a little bit because I remember with the Bears when they kept hiring coordinators that were unproven. I was like, please, can we just get a proven head coach? I wasn't sure about Ben Johnson. I wanted someone like Mike Vrabel. Now the Giants have a proven head coach and a team. What was his knock, John Harbaugh, when he was with Baltimore? He couldn't quite get over the hump. Do you know how happy Giants fans would be able to be competitive late in the season just to wonder if they're actually going to get over the hump to get to a Super Bowl, let alone the playoffs? Like, they would love that. They've had 7 wins in the last 2 seasons.
That's my point. When Stephen A. makes the comment of, what have you done for me lately? A year ago today, they were the 3 seed in the AFC playoffs, Baltimore. 2 years ago today, they were the 1 seed in the AFC playoffs. So while this year it goes down to the final kick and they don't get in and they fall, they're unbelievably disappointing. There's no question about it. It's not that far removed, or he's not that far removed from being the steward of one of the best teams in football. So
don't parse pieces of what I brought up. I brought up that Baltimore Ravens roster and the elite weapons that he had. The Giants don't necessarily have that outside of neighbors.
I understand that, Stephen,
and Burns, that's how I'm looking at it in terms of elite.
But you said, what have you done for me lately? He's still been a good coach very recently. The second thing, when you bring up
the coach.
But let me ask you this. As of right now, this morning, do the Giants have different expectations, realistically, than they did yesterday morning? Absolutely.
The answer to that is yes, but the Giants have always had expectations. Every time they make change,
no, Stephen A.
I mean, have you watched the Giants organization talk?
There's very real different expectations now. This has gone from overnight a losing culture to a winning culture because of the head coach. And you bring up the division, and you're sitting there saying you got all these other teams. This is probably the most influx division in the NFL right now. The Washington Commanders just hired a new offensive coordinator that's never done it before, David Blau. God bless. Hopefully he's outstanding. They don't have a defensive coordinator. The Dallas Cowboys are $30 million over the cap and don't have a defensive coordinator. The Philadelphia Eagles don't have an offensive coordinator. So this is a division that, while there's some teams that have had some recent success, there's a lot of unknown within this division that should not deter the Giants from mattering next season.
Well, I think the other piece of it is, too, though, it's like, who else you was going to get? Like, you want to talk about being rational and being logical, Stephen A. You got to look at what the dating pool is, right? Whether you're going to swipe right, swipe left, whatever the hell they do in them date naps, you comparing to what's next at the next picture. And when you look at John Harbaugh, he comes and his bio matches up a lot more with winning than everybody else's bio that you're interviewing. John Harbaugh has a track record of winning football games and making a transition as well. You go from the Ray Lewis and the Ed Reed and the Joe Flacco Baltimore Ravens, where you won a Super Bowl, into this new age with Lamar Jackson. And outside of winning a Super Bowl, which you expect a coach like John Harbaugh, with one of the best players in football like Lamar Jackson, to be able to do. And there are going to be people that detract from what he's accomplished because of that. And that's fair. But we're talking about getting a 4-13 team back to winning football. Mm-hmm. We're not saying that Giants fans should feel like right now, today, we go win the Super Bowl. Yeah. That's not how it works.
Some do feel like that this morning when they win.
That's not how it works. But what you feel like is, oh, my gosh, there's somebody that wants to be here that's synonymous with winning. Mm-hmm. And that's why you make this choice.
I have to say, I got to educate the viewers out there as to why I'm laughing so hard. Because, no. Don't just put me up on the screen. I need a split screen where I want to make sure that I'm seeing RC and DO with this one. See, DO, I want you to stay with me because RC is making, I appreciate you, bro. I needed a good laugh this morning, and here's how. Because he brought up relationships again. And if you watch The Pivot and you watch RC and you watch him talk about relationships, a lot of times he asks questions about cats that are around too long. And he brings up relationship analogies and he talks about, hey, you've been living a long time. And sometimes it's time for a change. That's what he talks about here. And sometimes, you know what? The luster it just diminishes. He brings up all of that. But in this particular instance, we're going to act like John Harbaugh arriving in New York. We didn't say Super Bowl. You damn right we didn't say Super Bowl. We talk about the New York Giants. Since 2012, how many times? They've had 3 winning seasons. They've had 2 playoff appearances. They've had 1 postseason victory. All that since 2012. And a damn person mentioned no Super Bowl. Let's not get it confused. I'm not bringing up no Super Bowl with them. I said playoffs. Playoffs. Yeah, playoffs. That's what I brought up. I did not bring up the Super Bowl, and I won't bring up the Super Bowl. Let's get that out the way. Secondly, when you talk about young bloods, right, what happens? You talk about one son new. You talk about one son younger. People talk about that kind of stuff all the time. We don't have to go there, but that happens, okay? Liam Cohen, you see what he did in Jacksonville?
Yeah.
Didn't that man take a 4-13 team and turn them into 13-4? You see McDonald, who's a former defensive coordinator in Baltimore. That's probably why Bisciotti was so candid, because he was probably sitting there thinking about Seattle being the #1 seed in the NFC and saying, yo, damn, I should have kept him. We said, Mike McCarthy with the Dallas Cowboys. Last time I checked, he won a Super Bowl. Green Bay won a Super Bowl in 2010. He was the coach with the Green Bay Packers at that particular moment in time. When he arrived in Dallas, I didn't hear Dan Orlovsky excited. I didn't hear RC excited.
won 12
Y'all
games, 3
said,
years in a row.
let's wait and see. Y'all said, let's wait and see.
Stephen A.
So that's what I'm saying.
Right, but here's what you do, right? You talk about the fact that Dan just took pieces of your argument. You also just take pieces of the facts. Whichever facts make Brick happy, those are the facts that you use. Because you didn't mention that the #1 seed in the AFC playoffs is the Denver Broncos. And they got Sean Payton. And Sean Payton, when he goes there, is a proven winner. Sean Payton drafts Bo Nix in his 2nd year, and that team goes to the playoffs. And now in his 3rd year, they're the #1 overall seed. And Mike Vrabel, who was a former coach of the year with the Tennessee Titans, well, you didn't get to it fast enough because it didn't support your argument.
Yeah.
And Mike Vrabel,
You conveniently left it out.
You left that out. And Mike Vrabel, who was with the Tennessee Titans, now has the New England Patriots as the #2 seed, hosting a 2nd-round playoff game. And so there's different ways to skin the cat. You're right. Some of these young bloods and some of these new coaches, they figure out ways to turn things around quickly. That's what the evaluation process of coaches and the interview process of coaches is about. It's why a Mike Tomlin can be interviewed for the Rooney Rule and then coach 19 years in Pittsburgh. If you can identify that guy and get him, then good. But if you could get one that's proven, that you ain't got to guess about, that you don't have to ask about, it also absolves you of any culpability of being wrong because everybody thinks it's right.
Yeah, and I'd also say this, Stephen A., to RC's point.
That a good thing for the Giants?
But don't forget, Stephen A., this was the first place that Harbaugh went to and interviewed with, in a pool that has the Pittsburgh Steelers in it.
No, I went to the Falcons first, I believe.
No, in person.
They did the first
Giants
phone
the
call.
first one.
Okay.
I believe the
Falcons
Falcons
announced the
a
first
Zoom.
phone
Okay.
call. Yeah.
Correct.
It's fine.
In a pool that has the Pittsburgh Steelers, in a pool that has a team and an organization with a ton to spend and the #1 pick at quarterback in Cam Ward, a pool that's got the Las Vegas Raiders, that's got Tom Brady, tons of cash, and the #1 pick coming up in this draft, a pool that had at least still question marks of what's going on in Green Bay and if they're going to hire their coach or re-sign their coach to a contract extension. He went to New York. He spent time with New York. He saw that we've got Jackson Dart, and he said, yup, I don't need to go anywhere else. That's a big deal. That's a big deal for this coach for the first go-round who just had teams that were bona fide Super Bowl contenders to say, I'm going to go there and I'm not going to go to any of those other visits.
Exactly.
That's a big deal.
Stephen A., what's the worst that could happen with the Giants? They win a few more games? That's a win.
Nothing. That's my point.
There's only
That's what
one
I'm
way
saying.
to go.
Listen.
Well, who would you
He's
have
gonna be a
liked
good
to
hire because he
hire
ain't
him?
gonna
Who
be
would you have
worse.
been more excited over?
Steve, who would have excited you as a coach for the New York Giants then?
No. I'm not implying that I know the answer to that question, fellas. What I'm saying is we didn't know about a Mike Tomlin. We didn't know about a McDonald. We didn't know about a Liam Cohen. We didn't know about some of these young bloods. You know what? For me personally, again, I would have liked to see a Brian Flores get an opportunity. We know that, his lack of opportunity with the New York Giants ain't because of football reasons. We know it's because of legal reasons when it comes to that because he turned them off. But the bottom line is somebody like Brian Flores should definitely be a head coach in the National Football League. I would like to see that. So, I mean, again, John Harbaugh is not a bad hire. I am not trying to imply that this man is not a good coach who has not accomplished great things. What I'm saying to you this morning, when we're sitting back, let's not act like, oh my God, the Giants have been resurrected. The change has arrived, and all of a sudden they're just going to be this team that we hoped and thought they would be, spanning a decade and a half now. I'm not convinced that that's going to be the case, but we shall see.
Let me guess. We'll wait and see.
It's fluid.
We'll wait and see.
We're
fluid.
gonna wait and see.
We'll wait and see.
It's fluid.
Once they win 13 games, then we've seen it.
13. I mean, that's lofty.
13 games.
expectations.
New York Giants?
Above
Wow.
500, I think, is
You're in
a
a
big
good
win.
place.
Okay, above 500 for the Giants. We'll have much more on
say
this
they
coming up
gonna
a little
lose.
bit.